thing for sure. Well, man, it's great to meet you. And before we delve into your life as an entrepreneur, I want to know, how did you survive the last 3.5 years? How did you get through the pandemic and how did it change you?
So in terms of pandemic, I just trucked on as usual. So at that point, we just went completely remote, which is easier as a small team. I got closer to family, got closer to friends, kept working out, read more, took up more meditation. So I spun it to be a positive thing overall.
Yeah. So let's get to the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third grade students. It's career day. And one of the kids is curious and says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How would you answer that child?
So what I do for a living is I follow my intellectual curiosity, and wherever that takes me, it takes me. Right now, that took me to two different companies. The first is ShopX. That's Web3 e-commerce, aka crypto-powered shopping. And the second is dating, and that's the first ever AI-powered matchmaker. So if you want to match with someone based on AI and uh, similar digital footprints, that's what that does.
Wow, fascinating. So what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream?
Baseball player.
Okay.
Definitely pro athlete.
So I got to say, I mean, LA right now is taking over the whole story of Major League Baseball. Like the team they got right now is
Oh,
unreal.
oh, it's stacked. The show. I'm guessing you kind of follow, but yeah, I was stoked on the show. I thought to deal. Plus, he did the good contract too. Like he's being a good guy about it. He's pushing it
Yeah,
back. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a. If I were not an LA baseball fan, I'd be kind of mad about it, but I am, so I'm happy about it.
yeah, for sure. Well, I was telling my wife yesterday, I'm a Royals fan, but I'm like, I could just see on Davy Roberts' face the last two seasons. Like
Yeah,
when they lost in San Diego and when they had the early exit this year, I could just see it on his face where it's like, this isn't going to happen again. And this off season's proof that they don't want it to happen again,
yeah,
you
no.
know?
And I think they got the perfect player. I don't know if you've ever seen Shohei, because I used to watch him. I'm not really an Angels fan, but I would
Yeah.
watch it. I would go to Angels games when he was pitching just because he's that gnarly.
Hmm.
Dude, he's fun to watch. The fact that
He,
he's a pitcher and a DH, I'm like, and he's not to be dick, but he's Asian too. I'm just like, how?
yeah. I saw him in Kansas City. It was probably one of the best games I ever saw at Royal Stadium. It was really hot. It was right before Father's Day. I was out there with my son and my daughter's boyfriend, and he's a big Otani fan. So we were out there, and he hit a home run, which was so
Yeah,
cool to
he
see.
does.
Yeah, and then he got thrown out at second, which was it was a bizarre play. And but I remember our one of our guys got his first hit, and it was in the bottom, I believe, of the ninth, and it was a grand slam, and it was the
Ooh.
most bizarre ending. But Otani was there. I think Trout hit a home run. The whole thing was the perfect package. So yeah.
One of your guys' first hit was a grand slam in the ball in the ninth. Oh,
Yes.
that's a
That
cool one.
that was
That
totally
probably never
wild.
happens.
Yeah, no, never.
Yeah.
Absolutely never. So
He
it was a
must have been
great game.
stoked.
Yeah. Oh man, that place. I was so emotionally drained at the end of it that I just could not believe it. I was just giddy. I could not believe fireworks are going off, the crowd's going, because we were down by quite a bit and we really had to climb back. And
Uh,
everybody's wanting this guy to get his first hit. Like, just let this dude get his first hit. And then it's a magnanimous walk off, and we're like, oh my God,
that
what did
was a
we just
walk off. It
watch?
was a walk off too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it has to be. If you're gonna hit a grand slam as your first hit the ball in that, the universe isn't gonna give you anything other than a walk off.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
got to be that. Yeah, for sure. Um, so how did we get to this point? Tell me about where you were born and raised and what was the kind of the career path to be an entrepreneur and, as you said, just kind of picking up these things and making them into reality.
So first, I'm born and raised, 30 years old, blessed to live in beautiful Southern California. I went to college at the University of California, Irvine. During that time, I interned in Barcelona as a project manager and as a government affairs consulting internship in DC. So I got to work in two vastly different environments. Like, for example, Barcelona, super laid back. Nothing is open at like 4 or 5 because of siesta time. I would show up to work at like at 11 and I'd be earlier than the employees. Whereas DC, working on the Hill as a basically a government affairs consultant, completely the opposite. You show up at like 8:30, full suit, which me from the West Coast, low key is a pain in the ass when it's like super humid and you're just like you're on the subway, you're just like, Jesus, I am drenched. But either way, those two things were pretty good college experiences. The first job I had out of college was because after you graduate college, like, what do I do? Where do I work? So I was looking in the tech sector, and then the company I ended up was Snap Inc., helping with their ad algorithm. The main reasons I chose that were location. It was close to where I live. It was on Venice Beach, and their campus is structured differently, so it's not just one big campus.
Yeah.
They bought a bunch of different properties on Venice Beach. So like you would jump around different houses or different like buildings or warehouses and work with different groups of people, which I thought was a cool setup. And of
Yeah.
course, you got to eat lunch on Venice Beach, like watch a skate park. Like, yeah, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
The second reason I chose that was it was right before their IPO, so I wanted to see what that was going through that what the company would be like. So that was fun. And then from there, um, excuse me, you need to from there, I'm like, okay, that was a fun experience. Now to get a full 9 to 5 fully suited job and as like a lawyer consultant, I went the consultancy route and joined a firm that does Fortune 500 bankruptcies. So if a company goes bankrupt, there's a lot of debt that has to be moved around, and the consultants work with the lawyers and the bankruptcy court to ensure that that goes to the right place. So that firm was cool. I was working there at that point in time that's when I was really going down the cryptocurrency rabbit hole. So I had my group of friends. We were reading all the tweets, all the podcasts, reading all the books, reading all the articles and everything. And that didn't exactly align with what I was doing at the consultancy firm. So in terms of bankruptcy, there's 4 different levels of creditors, like tier one, tier two, tier three, tier four. Not called that, but tier one obviously gets paid first, then tier two, then tier three, then tier four. The normal people like me and you are in tier four, so oftentimes people get like pennies on the dollar for what they're actually owed.
Yeah.
And as a consultant, my incentive was to bill out hours to the client. So if I was billing out hours, they're happy, but those hours would actually take from the pool that goes to the creditors. So I didn't think that was the I mean, it is what it is. It's more of like a systematic problem. It's something like the firm did wrong. It's just how it functions.
Yeah.
But that didn't align with the cryptocurrency ethos of no rent seeking, produce value, and all that jazz. So quit that job, started going to cryptocurrency meetups in the area because we were on to work. We found the original ShopX team that's been going since 2016. During the bear market, we also launched a spin-off SaaS platform. So that was for Shopify brands, replacing affiliate codes. That did pretty well, had over 100 brands using that. That no longer exists, but that no longer exists, but that all that knowledge cycled back into ShopX.
Yeah.
So right now, ShopX is run. I'm working with ShopX simultaneously with the AI powered matchmaking company. They're somewhat related in the sense that the reason I was able to find the dating company because I was on a crypto podcast tour like a while back.
Mhm.
I kept in touch with one of the people who hosted me on the crypto economy podcast. And with the rise of AI, he had this idea and he started the company. So he reached back out. I'm like, okay, this is kind of funny. Let's run with that. And here we are. I mean, day to day, it honestly due to changes. Like I go by the calendar. It's like sometimes on a podcast, sometimes like it's a ShopX business call, sometimes it's a dating partnership call. Like it's really just winging it.
Yeah. Well, that's fascinating though. With AI rising up, that seems like a perfect fit to do a dating thing. To
Oh,
really,
it's gonna crush it. Like like it's gotten a bunch of hype in the sense like we were gonna launch earlier this year,
yeah.
but then in order to get like some sort of funding, but then the funding came in early, so now we're gonna push it off to Jan around Valentine's Day because that seems like a good time to launch.
Huh? Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be that one's gonna be great. Everyone who sees it like, okay, this is sticky. They want to join. Like, what can we join? Like, even I want to join because I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I want to use it too. If you're
Yeah.
single, it's gonna be useful, and dating apps kind of suck.
Yeah. Absolutely. That sounds totally intuitive. So, who's been a hero for you in your life? You're obviously a very highly driven person. Been a hero for you?
Eh, honestly, a bunch of people. I think I view everyone equally in the sense I think everyone I talk to I can learn something from. So in that sense, everyone. But if you want like an actual answer, the 3 biggest influences in my life have probably been Hermes Trismegistus, Miyamoto Musashi, Marcus Aurelius, and Lao Tzu. Those 4.
Okay. So, if you can meet anybody alive on the planet right now and spend some time with them, pick their brain, who would it be?
That'd be you because we're meeting right now.
Right on. Right on. So, what is the motivation for you every day to wake up, to do what you do, to run businesses, to be highly motivated, and to evolve? What is that motivation for you?
Yeah, so honestly, I believe in spreading positivity, and I think I can do that with both companies. Like for example, I view positivity as contagious, meaning if you're a positive person, first of all, it's beneficial to you if you're positive because obviously the inner world reflects the outer world. So if you're positive, you attract positive experiences, and if
Yeah.
you're negative, you attract negative experiences. So if I'm positive with you, we're having a good conversation, which we are. Then you're maybe hopefully that spreads off on your listeners, and then that creates a chain reaction. To give you a more specific example on both companies from the ShopX perspective, I would like to live a nice, peaceful life. That's overall what I would like.
Yeah.
I find that more difficult to do if I view the money system as inherently corrupt, which I do. So that's what led me to find precious metals and eventually Bitcoin as the next step from that ethos. And rather than onboard my mom, my dad, my brother, or my grandmother into Bitcoin one at a time over like honestly 5 different Thanksgivings dinners when they didn't care about it at all.
Yeah.
I think ShopX is a better way for me to leverage that technology and get more people in. So, for example, ShopX is a way for brands to interact in the space by downloading a simple Shopify or WooCommerce app. And if, let's say, hypothetically, we onboard like a Nike of the world,
Hmm.
Nike uses our products and services to launch a NFT program for their customers. The customers want the product attached with a Nike NFT, so they have to buy the product. Nike sells 1 million passes. That's a 0 to 1 moment for 1 million new people within the Web3 space. And whether they want to dive more into the technology, learn more about it, again, that's totally up to them and it's going to be on their own time. And that's important because in that situation, it's powerful and it's not forceful. So the difference between power and force is unsustainable because one party wins, one party loses. Like if we're in a forced relationship, I'm losing. I'm gonna be like, eventually, I'm gonna be like, all right, dude, I'm out. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But in a powerful relationship, we both win. So like in that Nike example, ShopX wins because when Nike sells those passes, we earn a bit of revenue. And the ShopX community wins because we share our revenue with our community in another product we have called SquadX.
Hmm.
Nike wins because they sell a new product they earn revenue without even shipping a product. Their customers who purchase the product actually wanted the product, and this increases the customer loyalty, conversion rates, and all that good stuff. And more importantly, the customer wins because they wanted the product that came with NFT. So no one's like forcing them like, hey, you have to buy this. Like, no, we want to buy this. We want the continuous benefits that come with it. And if they want to sell that NFT in the future, they totally can. So that's ShopX is a way to onboard people in Web3 at scale. We have to make it simpler. So there's that. From the dating perspective, I think the core, and I think this is like recently, mostly due to social media and dating apps. I think it's very important. I think humans are social animals inherently, and it's very important to establish good, positive relationships with people. I think the family unit is obviously extremely important, and it's not pushed. And I think dating apps and social media apps have kind of pushed us away from that in the sense it's like swipe, 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 next, 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 next. It's like the
Yeah.
abundance of choice mentality where it's like, okay, the top 5 people on Tinder get literally all the matches and then it skews the whole marketplace.
Yeah.
Whereas, and if you do match, you're unlikely to get along because it's only physical based. Whereas with dating, our goal is to match happy couples. So what you would do is you would just auto create a profile by linking your social media account, like your Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Pinterest, Spotify, YouTube, and then it'll give you 3 to 4 matches per day based on your back end and their back end and who they think you would match with. So, for example, it could show me 3 matches: Kimberly, Ashley, and Jane. I read a little bio on each of them. It's like, okay, they're all 4 university students. Kimberly's into fitness, Ashley's into cooking, Jane's into reading, whatever. I'm like, okay, for whatever reason, Jane catches my interest. I'm like, oh, can you please tell me more about Jane? What's her family like? She the eldest? She the youngest? Does she What does she do on the weekend? Oh, and people be like, Jane tags a bunch of national parks on her Instagram. She is the eldest of 3 sisters. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm the eldest. Maybe we'll get along.
Yeah.
And then people be like, oh, you both connect to your Spotify. Did you know you both listen to 25% R&B and you both have the same favorite artist? And did you know that that artist is having a concert halfway between you and Jane?
Yeah.
Maybe I can suggest a date. And then it could suggest that. So
Yeah.
what's cool about that is it puts the user in a position to succeed, meaning like I've never met Jane, but apparently we have a lot in common on the back end.
Yeah.
And that's just one match too. It's like
Yeah.
I could just for whatever reason we couldn't hit it off. And the more matches I go through, the smarter the AI gets and better at matchmaking my particular taste. Like for example, I could be someone who likes opposite me. I could be someone who likes the same as me. You just don't know until you train the AI. So that's what it can do.
Yeah.
And
That's
then they can help.
fascinating.
Oh yeah. And then like
Yeah.
after the date, it can help you plan the date too. Like me and Jane are dating. It's like it can suggest stuff. So at that point, it's like a matchmaking butler type thing where it's like
Yeah.
for like married couples too. It's like you're busy. Like my aunt and uncle, they probably won't be on a dating app. They have two kids. Obviously, you're busy. But they're like, hey, did you know that restaurant you went to on your first date's having a special on the sandwich?
Uh-huh.
Maybe you want to check it out. Or it's like, oh, your favorite movie's playing or your artist's playing. Check it
Yeah.
out.
That's crazy. But that's totally logical. I mean, that's where we're at. It's like algorithms. It's like all of the things that follow you around. It's just in that dating concept, and that's totally intuitive.
Yeah, and the cool thing about and I view it obviously AI is just like a super complex topic, but I viewed it like at its core, it's just
Yeah.
pattern recognition at scale. And since we already have all the digital, like most people now, they have all the social media profiles. They've been on there for years, so there's a pretty comprehensive view.
Yeah.
Like the internet or source or whatever you call it has a pretty comprehensive view as a person. So what we're gonna do is just pretty much put that all in one place and then use it to hopefully match someone with a potential mate. And me personally, some a direction I want to take the app in the future is I view dating as a beginning, and we do have an AR component, so we'll be one of the first ones in AR. So if you don't want to meet in real life, you can meet in like Apple's AR system. Obviously, not too many people are in that right now because it's expensive, but I think Apple's just doing the exact same thing with their iPhone, where eventually it'll be cheaper. Most people have it.
Yeah.
But in the end, it can be used to make build communities too, because I also think that community is extremely important. Like I can use dating to find friends. Like, okay, can you find me three dudes who are in the general area who train Muay Thai, like to watch UFC, like to go on hikes, and are below a certain age?
Yeah.
And then they could find a community like that. So it really is more of a community app. I think dating is just a starting point, just because that's honestly it'll go pretty viral on TikTok and all that stuff. If you check out the YouTube videos of the app, it's pretty clean.
Yeah.
It's got that fun factor where you can talk to it about random stuff. So
Yeah.
it has all that. And did you ever play Halo?
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah. It's been a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, so the AI is called Cupid. She's actually based off Cortana. So if you played Halo and you look at it, just like, oh, that's Cortana.
Yeah.
Before she goes crazy, we have to throw
Yeah.
in that caveat.
Yeah. That's cool, man. That's very cool. So of all of these things that you've done and accomplished, what are you the proudest of?
Yeah, honestly, it's neither of that. It's more so the spirituality and the meditation thing.
Yeah.
Just because I think everyone has inherently two goals. There's an inner goal and there's an outer goal. I think everyone has the same inner goal, and that's to raise your own level of consciousness, which circles back to the positivity thing. So, for example, I view everything as a scale in terms of vibration and energy, like 0 to 1,000. You want to go as high up on the scale as possible. So, my most important thing is raising my own level on that scale to what the higher number I want, and that encompasses all my habits, all the content I consume, the food I consume, the people I associate with that. So, what I've noticed is as I raise my own level, the people's level of consciousness around me raises too, and
Yeah.
that raises the people around them, thus benefiting humans as a collective. So I'd say that's my proudest accomplishment. So I think that's everyone's inner purpose, whether you know it or not. And then the outer purposes are more like the company side, the relationship side, all that stuff.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight, you ran into, say, the senior in high school 18-year-old version of you, and you could give that younger version of you a piece of advice based on the wisdom you've gained up to this point in your life, what advice would you give your young version?
I'll give you a cop answer. I'd say, hey, good luck, man. The reason is because everything good or bad that's happened to my 18-year-old version I viewed it happen for a reason and put me in the position I am in now, which is the exact position I'm supposed to be in for whatever that means. I wouldn't give him any advice. But if I had to, I'd say, dude, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's say we get off the Zoom call, it's time machine pulls up in front of your house. You can see one event in human history with your own eyes. Where are you going to go?
Oh, so I would see the Atlantean flood. That's all.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. So, did you see the big waves? I heard reports about big waves hitting around LA this weekend. Was that something that was by you?
I didn't personally see them, but I heard them too. So apparently there's like a 4 point something earthquake. I didn't feel it, but hopefully
Okay.
everyone's okay.
Okay. Interesting. Um, so everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Yeah, I honestly, dude, I don't think I don't have that perception of me.
Yeah,
I think I think it's a really interesting aspect. Like you have a perception of me, my mom, my brother, everyone who's listening, all the ShopX community, all the dating community, everyone's perception of me is different. So in a way, you live differently in everyone's eyes.
yeah,
I don't think I have a perception. I don't have a perception of myself. I really just go with the flow and adjust to whatever works best.
yeah. So everyone out there, we've heard of Bitcoin. I think there's a mystery that goes into it. If there's anyone out there that's even remotely interested in getting involved in this community and being a part of it, what would you tell them to go ahead and do it? How would you encourage them? What would you say?
So the first thing I would do is I recommend you do your own research. The ethos about cryptocurrency is it's your coins, your money. So if you lose it, it's on you. And then I would recommend you research a guy named Andreas Antonopoulos. In terms of intro to crypto, I think he's the best one who does it. He has two very digestible books, Internet of Money, one and two. And what they are, they're transcript of his lecture. So he's on YouTube. Just watch a couple videos of him. He pretty much nails it flat. And then from there, if it interests you at all, again, I don't want you to do anything you don't want to do. The
Yeah,
best thing to do is get some skin in the game. So just acquire like $5 to $10 of Bitcoin. I believe in the crawl, walk, run approach. No need to put like your life savings in,
yeah,
but maybe buy $5, see how the technology works, send it off to yourself, see how that works. And then you have some skin in the game and you're more
yeah,
likely to learn yourself. Because in crypto, what usually happens is most people will come for the gains, but they'll stay for the fundamentals. Because like you'll join, you're like, oh, why is it going up so high? Oh, why is it dumping? And that emotional investment, you're like, okay, maybe I should research why it's here. And then you go down your learning journey and just never be afraid to ask questions.
absolutely. So, in our lifetime, there's been so many technology advances. What do you think has been the most significant one, say, since, I don't know, the mid to late 90s? I mean, things have just exploded, but what do you see as the most important technological advancement that we're dealing with these days?
The creation of Bitcoin. And the reason it's the creation of Bitcoin, I know it sounds kind of boring, but it really does reinvent the money supply. I think it's the next iteration of the money. Like we started off with just like a ledger, then like random like shells and all that stuff, and then tablets, and then eventually gold, and then eventually fiat. And the problem with fiat is everyone's losing money every second of every day. So the invention of Bitcoin kind of resets it to the gold standard where earn someone's money, you have to produce value versus just find ways to print it yourself. So I think that globally resets incentives for people. Like for example, if you wanted to become rich right now, I think the easiest way would be to be a politician or something, or become a rent seeker and just kind of take money from people. Whereas in a Bitcoin world, the way to get rich is it's not to take from someone. And the two rules I do follow is when you're a creator, don't ever take from anyone or don't ever harm anyone. If you
Yeah,
follow those two rules, you should be good. But if you look at the current system we have now, like the richest people, they kind of not including like Bezos or Musk. I'm more talking about like the people in the government or like the defense contractors. You know that whole system of
yeah,
like they do the opposite of those two rules. And that's because they have access to unlimited money. So like think about like how does it get created? The Fed prints money, they kick it off to the government. The government pays the government's friends in terms of contractors. Like he'll pay like $1,000 for like a water bottle.
yeah,
Obviously, just one of their friends who owns the company. Then they pocket the money, and then they use that money to buy influence and get more of their friends in the position of power. And then here we are.
yeah,
Whereas in Bitcoin, I think it kind of resets that whole incentive structure. So I think it's
yeah.
extremely important. Whether it wins or not, I think we'll find out.
Absolutely. So, Eric, if anyone wants to learn more about this dating service, your companies, anything about you, reach out to you. How can they do that?
Yeah, so the best way to do it is either company website. So ShopX is SHOPX.co, and dating is DATAING.io. My personal socials will probably be in the show notes. So it's Eric D. McHugh on Instagram or Eric McHugh0 on Twitter. I like to chit chat, and my goal is to be as helpful as possible. So if you have any questions about Web3 or AI, or just want to chat, just shoot me a DM and we can figure something out.
Right on. Cool. Eric, this has been great, man. Hey, have a great baseball season. Dig the Dodgers, man. You guys got it.
We will. I think we will. I don't
I,
want to I don't want to jinx it just because I remember last time I got this excited was when
yeah,
Dwight Howard came to the Lakers and we know how that turned out. But
yeah.
yeah, we're pretty stacked.
I think it's good. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Great to meet you, Eric, man. Have a great 2024. I appreciate it.
yeah, you too, man.
Thank you.